What's going on, 3DMJers? Eric Helms here, and this is prep vlog number 3. That's right, I'm dropping that hot, consistent, high-paced content. Just like any of your business coaches in the internet age would tell you, you need to have content coming out of your ears, grit, grind, all the time. And I don't know how I do it, but this is, 3 prep vlogs since the start of February. That's an average of like 2 vlogs every 2 months or 1 vlog every 2 months. High paced. If you ever want to hit me up for business coaching, that's the DMs. Just drop me one of those DMs. I've heard that's what we do these days. No, but in all seriousness, I've been doing the best I can to keep up with these irregular contest prep vlog updates. And cool thing about this one is I actually just did my first competition of this bodybuilding season, but it was a powerlifting meet. So I competed yesterday at the NZPF North Islands Championships. That's the New Zealand Powerlifting Federation. That's our IPF affiliate, which I'm involved in. Great community. The North Island Championships was down by Lake Karapiro near Cambridge, just a couple hours south of Auckland. So we were able to drive out there, just spent the night in Airbnb, and compete the next day alongside my good friend and one of my athletes, Susie Premji, who I've been competing alongside since 2013, and I've consider her, she's like a sister to me. She's a really awesome athlete, really close to her. She did great. Anyway, didn't get the opportunity to coach her on the day because we were in the same session. So that kind of was an odd shakeout, but this was a really well-run meet, a beautiful event. It was right on the lake. And just a big shout out to all the volunteers and everyone who put this on. Much appreciated. We've got a lovely powerlifting community here in New Zealand, which I've had a privilege of getting more involved with over the years. I've been competing with the NZPF, specifically the Auckland Powerlifting Association, since 2013. And I've been, coaching athletes locally here and there and competing. I got the opportunity to, I think, officially become one of the national coaches since Commonwealth of last year. And I was also in Malta, with the team, which was a lot of fun. So anyway, at the start of prep, I kind of thought, there's a couple things going on here that coincide that are influencing me to jump into a competition. One, I have new perspectives on programming where I'm confident that a baseline bodybuilding program with a little bit of low volume but highly specific intensity work could do pretty well and bring my powerlifting numbers up, even though I've been focused on bodybuilding training for the better part of a year and a half now, and my numbers are a little suppressed. And let's see what we can do with that. 2, if there's a well-timed competition in the year, I can compete as an 83, which is kind of cool. First time I've ever competed as an 83 was yesterday. And then number 3, I'm 40. I turned 40 back in April. And some of the 83 kilo Masters 1 records, I might have a decent shot at, both the national and provincial records. So the national New Zealand records as well as the Auckland records. And I looked at the calendar and hey, sure enough, right in the middle of my contest prep, about 60% of the way through, 2/3 of the way through-ish, North Islands. North Islands, you can set national records. It's like a sub-national level meet. So lo and behold, timing was perfect. Early July, I'm in the country. I definitely would have been under 83 by my estimation. This is me talking back in February, and that was actually the case. And based upon my numbers at kind of the start of this contest prep, I thought I had a good shot at the bench press national record, which for the Masters 1 division at 83 is 137.5. And early in this prep, I was benching like 140 to 145. However, I was in the mid-90s. So I was thinking, okay, if I can hold on to at least 10, like just like 90% of my bench press strength, I'll be good. Unfortunately, I didn't quite hold on to that, but the Auckland provincial record is only 120, and the Auckland provincial deadlift record is only 222, and the Auckland provincial total record in the 83 kilo M1 division is only 540. So I thought, hey, worst case scenario, I have a really good shot at setting some Masters records. So that was the goal, and I've essentially just been doing singles on top of my bodybuilding training. I talked about that early in my first vlog, so I won't rehash that again. But more or less, what I have to say is it worked. I wasn't at my strongest ever. I don't think I peaked out my 83 kilo strength potential. I think if I had done this all intentionally, And I went, right, let me get my total in the 93s back up to the peak of where it is, around 630, 640. My best numbers ever are a 227 squat, 155 bench, and a 260 deadlift. Like if I got to there and then I dieted down to like 85 and then I did a gut cut and a water cut to make 83, I do think I'd be potentially totaling around 600 or the low 600s. And what I totaled in this comp was actually 572, which is pretty damn good considering that I started with lower than my top level strength numbers and essentially maintained all of it except for my bench press, which inevitably kind of goes down when you get really, really lean. You lose body fat off of your butt, your decline comes down, the range of motion increases, you lose body fat off your back, finding your position is weird, even lose some body fat off your chest so you touch even lower. And I find that basically for every kilo of body weight I lose, I'm almost losing a kilo of bench press strength. So that's kind of the preamble to all this. And the rest of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how all my attempts went in the competition. And then I'm going to show you my my current posing update, what I look like, and talk to you about some interesting things that I've noticed around lighting, assessing your physique, and yeah, my plans are and where I'm at in this prep. Okay, so these are my squats. And the heaviest I squatted starting in February when I had this wild idea of doing a powerlifting meet was 200 kilos. So I set myself up with that, and I had the help of an awesome game day coach in Jason Clark, thank you, bro, to set me up to potentially even go heavier than that. So I opened at 187, I went to 197, 10 kilo jump because of how well it moved, and then we took a conservative 7 kilo jump to 205, which moved so well it even surprised me even more. Similar position in the bench press, except we knew a bit better about my top end. We opened at 122, and then we thought if it moves really well, we'll jump 10 to 132, which puts me in a position, if I'm just having a fantastic day and I surprise myself, to go 140, which would be a new national record 2.5 kilos heavier than the national record of 137. I entered the open, but I can set records as an 83, so I couldn't chip it and take 138. But as you will see in a second, I wasn't able to get anywhere close to the national record or that close. So anyway, that squat moved really well, surprised me. Opened here at 122, smoked it. We jumped 10 to 132, and then 132 was a little bit slow, so we only took a 2.5 kilo jump, which I think, to be honest, I would have had, but I made an error, and you'll see that here in a second. So that's the 132. That might look like it moved well, but I have a very high and sudden stick, so I knew I didn't have much left. So we took the conservative 2.5 kilo jump to 135, which is, of course, an Auckland provincial record, because the bench was only at 122, but not quite at the 140 I would need, or 138 if I'd entered Masters, to chip the 137.5 national record. Now you'll see here I had to re-rack, and that's because my dumbass didn't cover the ring all the way on the right. I was past maximum legal width, so I had to unrack it twice and hold it there until I got the start command, and I think that took the gas out of the tank, and you'll see I just barely missed this. So anyway, bench press, I only missed out on 2.5 kilos, but I went 3 for 3 on squats. And as you're going to see in a second, I ended up going 3 for 3 on deadlifts, and I was really happy. Heaviest deadlift I did was 230, so we had a similar game plan to squats, put me in a position where I could bump up on and hit a PB or a recent PB, and we did just that. I went 215, jumped 10 to 225, which put 2.5 kilos on the 222 Auckland Provincial Masters 1 record. And then we were feeling it, so we went another 10 kilos, and I actually smoked 235. I think I might have had 237 or maybe even 240. So it was a great day. I totaled 572, and I was really pleased with my performance on the platform. A big part of that performance was because of what I did nutritionally. I took a diet break while I was tapering the week of the competition. So my training stress was low, and my nutrition stress was low. I was eating at maintenance calories, so I felt great on the platform, and I think that's why I got the most out of myself I could. And many times people go like, oh my God, how could you do a bodybuilding prep and do well on the platform? The only consideration that I had, and something that I think is worth talking about, was that the diet break brought my body weight up a little bit as I was, carved up and I had more food in my gut. I had a low weigh-in 2 weeks prior to the meet of 82.6, so I thought, I'm good to go. But the diet break the week of the competition brought me up to 83.7. So how did I lose weight to actually make weight? Well, I didn't do a water cut. I didn't dehydrate myself. Again, I didn't want to have to worry about anything hindering my performance, so I did what we colloquially call a gut cut, which is just a low-fiber diet, of eating high energy, high density foods. So basically a very unhealthy diet. No fruits and vegetables, and eating things like chocolates and candies, etc., while just having like whey protein or very lean meats, so that the weight of your food is as low as possible and the fiber is low, so you're not drawing liquid into your gut, which is part of one of the things that fiber does. And you can see a pretty substantial drop just in gut mass without dehydrating yourself, without depleting yourself in terms of carbohydrate, without losing body fat, and while still being at maintenance. So what I did, I keep it very simple. I just had whey protein shakes and chocolate. And I choose salted caramel because it has some sodium in it, so I'm not actually getting unintentionally low sodium. And I dropped all the way from 83.7 to my official weigh-in at 82.65. Now this video that you're watching here is my posing check-in with Berto. And the things I'm noticing, and you can see it pretty well here in this front lat spread and my back shots, is I think my lats have improved. I think there's a good bit of thickness added to my back. And then you can also see in some of these side shots and back shots, my calves have improved, which they damn well should have with all the work that I put into my calves and stretching them and training them more frequently, higher intensity, long muscle length, all that stuff. But I don't think I've made any substantial improvements to my physique to the point where my stage weight is actually going to be higher. And I also think I can improve upon my conditioning. Now, this is very honest lighting, which I recommend to anyone who's competing to get a real assessment of where their conditioning is. You can see here my hamstrings are starting to come in. I have boxy glutes. I have quad separation, but I don't have glute striations. My hamstrings are not all the way in, and I don't have quad striations. So I have more to go, and I think if I want to get even leaner than last time, I'm probably going to need to be even lighter than last time. In 2019, my lowest weigh-in was 79.5, so I might need to get all the way down to like say 78. And I'm ready to do it, but it's very difficult to gauge that if you don't have honest lighting. So I really recommend this natural light straight on, not above you, so you can get a true assessment of where your physique is at. Now what I want to show you after I'm done with all my poses here is what it looks like when you have favorable lighting and why I don't recommend it. And that's kind of the practical take home for all you competitors. This is that honest lighting that tells you when you're ready. If you have striated glutes, if you have striated quads, if you have split hamstrings in this light, you're ready. But when you have really nice overhead gym lighting like I have here just to demonstrate, you can get a unrealistic expectation of where your physique is at. So this is great for the gram, but it's not great for you to check in with your coach or to assess where you're at because it can give you that false impression. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time in my next vlog.